In this lecture, let's discuss tweening in transitions. Tweening actually comes from the word in between. So between and tweening. I have already mentioned in a previous lecture that D3.js transitions are actually interpolation based animations. So the value or the state of an element changes from the starting value to some end value. So this happens over a time, and that is what D3.js transition is. So to explain the concept of tweening, let me show you the very first lecture we have discussed in this section. So this was the code we have written for the first one, that is for introducing D3.js transitions. As you could see here, when we click this button, this sea green color and also this color becomes deep pink. But if you look at these boxes carefully, you could see that the values in between or the colors in between are different for both these boxes, right? Let me click this again. See, at this point both these colors were different, but now at the end point both became deep pink. Again, let me show you. In the beginning this is dark sea green, right? Let me check it. Yes, the first one was dark sea green and the second one silver. And when we click this button, the colors changes differently for both these, and finally they reach the same color. So how this actually happens? This D3.js actually does this animation or transition using interpolators. So D3.js finds out the initial value. When we specify style background color deep pink, D3.js transition itself finds the initial background color using DOM techniques, and it gets the colors like dark sea green and silver. And using some interpolators, it is transforming the color. This first box is dark sea green to deep pink and the second one is silver to deep pink. So suppose we want to change the way the values in between get, that is, instead of using the default interpolators, suppose we want to customize the interpolators, then we can use tweening. So tweening actually provides a way for us to tell D3.js how the in-between values should be calculated during the transition. So let's see how we can customize these interpolators using tweening. So suppose we want to have a text box and I want to display numbers from 0 to 100, that is only integers 0, 1, 2 like that up to 100. So first let me add an input element and also a button. So on the click of the button we will start displaying from 0 to 100. Okay. So let me first add an input element of type text and let me set its ID to be, say, content, and let me set an initial value of 0 and let me disable this text box so that the user will not be able to enter anything. And also let me add a button with show as the text and let me write on click show numbers. This is the name of the function. And let me also style this input element a bit. So here let me add the style tag and within this let me specify hash content, that is the ID, and let me specify the width and height so it will look like a box itself. Okay, so let the width be 80px, let the height be, say, 60px, then let me specify the background color to be, say, gray and text color to be white. Let me specify the font size to be, say, 20px and let me align it to center. So text align to be center, that is, the text should be displayed at the center. Okay, now let's check the output. Let me save this. Okay, it is not displayed as we have set the styles. Let me check the code. Okay, here I haven't put a semicolon, so it was not accepted as a property, I think. Let me save this. See, Now it is displayed like this. So I want to have the button on the next line. So let me add a BR tag. Let me save this. See? Also let me add a margin bottom for this so that there will be a gap. So let the margin bottom be say 20 px. Let me save this and show you. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to display from 0 to 100 on the click of the show button. That is, when I click show, it should display from 0, 1, 2 like that up to 100. So how we can do that? Let me write the function, that is show numbers. So first we need to add the script section. Okay. And within this we need to add the function. So function show numbers, that is the name of the function we have specified. And here what we can do, let me specify d3 dot select hash content, which means this input element is selected. Then if I specify dot transition, say dot duration of 5000, and then dot attr of value, because value is an attribute, right? What should be the value I want? I want to make it 100. So as I have specified transition and duration, it should actually happen like 0 to 100, right? Let me save this and show you. Show. See, we are seeing decimal values, even too many decimal points, right? Suppose I increase this width to say 120, we might be able to see all the decimal points. Let me click show. See, even more decimals are there, I think. Let me change this to 200 and check. Save, show, even more decimals are there. Anyways, so what I want is I just want to have only numbers. So here it is actually doing the transition, right? It is changed from 0 to 100, having values in between. But the values are not integers, they are decimal values. So I want to have numbers like 0, 1, 2 like that. Suppose I change this to say 10,000. So let me save this. Let me click show. Still it is displaying decimal values, right? So this is how D3's built-in interpolator works. It is displaying values from 0 to 100, including decimal values. So we want to actually override or customize this interpolator, or how this interpolator works. So in this case, we need to use tweening. That is, we are going to tell D3 how the in-between values should be calculated. It should not be done by the basic or predefined D3's interpolator. So let's see how we can do that. So here, let me comment this line, and I'm going to use the method attr tween. So this one allows us to provide in-between values for the specified attribute. So the name of the function is attr tween, and what should be tweened? It should be value. So the first one is the same, and then we need to pass a function which will decide how this in-between values are calculated. So here I'm going to use the interpolate round function, which is a predefined interpolated provided by d3.js, which will round the number to the specified value. So here let me specify where numbers equals d3 dot interpolate round, that is the interpolator provided by D3 itself, and we want to have the numbers between 0 and 100, right? So I can specify interpolate round 0, 100. Then what should be returned? We can specify return function of I, and here return numbers of I. This will actually return the numbers from 0 to 100, which will be rounded so that we will get integers. Okay. Now let us check this. Let me save. Let me click show. See, we are seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Up to 100 will be displayed. See. So it started slowly and gained momentum and also ended slowly, right? So how we can change it if we want to display the numbers at uniform speed? If you remember, we need to use the ease option. So here let me specify ease as d3 dot ease linear. This is an option that can be used if we want to have the same speed for the animation. So let me save and check. Let me click. See, it is getting displayed at uniform speed, right? We are seeing all the numbers in between 0 and 100. Now suppose I reduce this to say 5000 and check. Let me save, show. See, it is now displaying quickly because it should be completed in 5 seconds. So this is what tweening does. Actually, if we do not use this tweening option here, what will happen? We will see numbers from 0 to 100, but we will see even decimal values. So that is how the predefined D3's interpolator works for doing transition between two numbers. But we don't want that to happen. That is, we want to override the predefined interpolator, and we have done it using tween. So we have done it using ATTR tween, which is used to calculate the in-between values for an attribute. Okay. And here we have used a built-in interpolator, which is d3.interpolate round. There are a couple of interpolators. In fact, you can even interpolate between strings, arrays, objects, etc. Here we have interpolated between numbers, right? Now this option is ATTR tween. So this option is used for attributes. Suppose we want to tween styles. That is, we want to calculate the in-between values for some style. In that case, the name of the method is style tween. So suppose we want to increase the font size from 20px to say 50px. So font size is a style property, right? It is not an attribute, it is a style property. So let us try to increase the font size. So in that case, which tween function should be used? It is style tween. So let me specify dot style tween. Okay. And what should be tweened? We want to change the font size. So I can specify font size here. And what should be passed? We need to pass a function. So function, and within this function, what should be written? We need to actually specify how this font size should be calculated. So here let me specify var size equals. So here I am going to use interpolate string. Actually D3 provides a number of built-in interpolators, and interpolate string is one among them. So let me specify d3.interpolate string. Okay. And here I need to specify the string values. So the initial value is 20px. If it is just 20, we can use interpolate round itself because it will be a number. But here 20px is a string value. So let me specify the initial value is 20px, and we need to specify the end value. Let it be say 50px or 60px. And then what should we do? Again we need to return this. So return function I. You can name any variable name you want. Okay. Return size of I. Now let's see how this works. Let me save. Let me click show. See, the size is getting increased. As you could see here, the size is getting increased and it became 60px at the end. Let me refresh and show you once again. Now it is 20px. If you want, we can actually change this to 10px at the beginning. So here also let me change, and also here. Okay. Let me save this. Now it is smaller, right? Actually, why we are specifying font size here? Because even before displaying the button, we have set the value 0 here. That is why I have set the font size here. For tweening, you just have to specify the starting and ending values here itself. Okay. Now let me save and check the output. Now it is 0. Let me click show. See, the size is getting increased up to 60px, what we have specified as the end value. So here we have used the style tween and the predefined interpolator interpolate string. So like this you can actually tween, that is you can actually calculate the in-between values using attr tween and style tween, and you can try different options here. Instead of font size you can try color or width, height, etc. And for attributes as well you can try different values. So this is the concept of tweening, and tweening is actually used if you want to override or customize the way the basic or predefined interpolators work in D3.js transitions.